Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Brita Wallace with Wallace Family Ministry. I'm a parent and family educator, and we have committed to embark on a love dare journey for our marriages or relationships, and we are on day 25. Okay, so we are going to hop right into our study, and we always start with a verse, which is 2 Corinthians 2:10. And that says, what I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, I did it for your sake in the presence of Christ, okay? So this one is tough, perhaps the toughest dare in the book. The authors, Alex and Stephen Kendrick, share with us. But if there is to be any hope for your marriage, this is a challenge that must be taken seriously, okay? Counselors and ministers who deal with broken couples will tell you that this is the most complex problem of all, a rupture that is often the last to be repaired. It cannot just be considered and contemplated, but must be deliberately resolved. Forgiveness has to happen, okay? Or a successful marriage won't. So that is the first thing that I want you to get. Forgiveness has to happen, or a successful marriage won't. All right. Jesus painted a vivid image of forgiveness in his parable of the ungrateful servant. He described a man who owned an overwhelming sum of money being surprised when his master totally canceled his debt. Okay, but upon release, the servant went out and found a poor man who owed him a small amount and mercilessly threw him in a prison for not paying it. Okay, when the master heard of his lack of forgiveness, he confronted the servant and put the original debt back on him. His lord, moved with anger, handed him over to the tortures until he should repay all that was owed to him. Matthew 18:34. Tortures, prison. When you think of unforgiveness, this is what should come to mind, okay? For Jesus said, my heavenly Father will also do the same to you if each of you does not forgive his brother from your heart. Matthew 18:35. Need some coffee, guys. All right, so imagine finding yourself in a prison-like setting. As you look around, you see a number of cells visible from where you're standing. You see people from your past incarcerated, people who wounded you as a child. You see people you only once called friends, but who have wronged you at some point in your life. And you may see one or both of your parents there, perhaps a sibling or some other family member. Even your spouse is locked in nearby, trapped with all the others in this jail of your own making. Wow, guys. So this prison you see is a room in your own heart. So we have a prison in our hearts, guys. And that's the next thing that I want you to get is that, and remember, is that we have a prison in our hearts. And it's dark, it's drafty, it's depressing, okay? And it exists inside us every single day. But Jesus is standing nearby, extending to you a key that will release every single inmate. He's telling you, forgive them all. It doesn't matter what they did to you. It doesn't matter how much they hurt you. You need to forgive them. No, you don't want any part of it. These people have hurt you too badly. So yeah, you might be saying, you have no idea what this person did to me. You have no idea what this person put me through. They did something so unforgivable, okay? They've hurt you so bad, and they knew what they were doing, and yet they did it anyway, okay? Even your spouse, the one who you should have been able to count on most of all, right? You resist and you turn away. You're unwilling to stay here. Seeing Jesus, seeing the key in his hand, knowing what he's asking you to do, and it's just too much. But in trying to escape, you make a startling discovery. Let's hear what it is. There is no way out, okay? You're trapped inside with all the other captives, all right? This is a really good way to look at unforgiveness. You're trapped inside with all of the captives that you've put there, All right? And this is why your unforgiveness, anger, and bitterness have made a prisoner of you as well. And that's why forgiveness a lot of times is not about the other person. It is about us. It's about what it does to us when we choose to harbor that inside. It's what it does to us when we do not choose to forgive. When we say, that person's hurt me too much, I'm going to hate them forever, I'm never going to forgive them. It's about what it does to us. It doesn't just imprison them inside of our hearts, it imprisons us. And who does that affect more? Them or us? Because they're not really in prison in most cases. Some of them are, I guess. But they're in prisons in our hearts, and they don't necessarily, especially if you don't talk to these people anymore, they don't even know that they're there. They don't even know that you've created this prison for them in their heart. I mean, maybe some of them have some sort of idea, like, yeah, that person will never forgive me, or, I just did something so wrong to them, and yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't affect them the way that it is affecting you, right? Unforgiveness, anger, and bitterness can literally make us sick, guys. It can harbor so much stuff. It literally makes us a prisoner as well. So like the servant in Jesus's story who was forgiven an impossible debt, you have to choose not to forgive. Oh, you have chosen, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Like the servant in Jesus's story who was forgiven an impossible debt, you have chosen not to forgive and have been handed over the jailers and torturers. So your own freedom, this is the next thing that I want you to get. Your own freedom is now dependent on your forgiveness, all right? So coming to this conclusion usually takes a while. We don't usually think like this. We like to think the latter. Well, this person hurt me, I'm never going to forgive them. They don't deserve my forgiveness. But do you deserve breaking free of those chains? Okay? So you see all kinds of risks involved in forgiving others since you feel what they did was wrong, whether they admit it or not. They may not even be sorry about it. All right, guys? They may feel perfectly justified in their actions, even going as far as to blame you for them. What if they do that, right? Should you forgive them anyway? Yes. But forgiveness doesn't absolve anyone of blame or clear their record with God, okay? It just clears you of having to worry about how to punish them, all right? When you forgive another person, you're not declaring them innocent. That's not what you're doing. You're just turning them over to God, who can be counted on to deal with them his way, okay? You're saving yourself the trouble of scripting any more arguments or trying to prevail in this situation. It's not about winning or losing. It's about freedom, okay? So I want you to get that. The next thing that I want you to get is it's not about winning or losing anymore. It's about freedom. It's about letting go. It's about extending the mercy that you have been giving. And that's why you often hear people who've genuinely forgiven another person say, I felt like a weight has been lifted. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like a breath of fresh air rushing into your heart. The stale darkness of the prison house is flooded with light and coolness. For the first time in a long time, you feel at peace and you feel free. But how do you do it, right? How do you do it? You release your anger and the responsibility for judging and punishing this person to the Lord. Never take your own revenge, beloved, but leave room for the wrath of God, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord, Romans 12:19. You might still feel the need to confront them about what they have done, but regardless, forgiveness should go ahead and happen now. How do you know that you have done it, okay? You know it when the thought of their name or the sight of their face, rather than causing your blood to boil, causes you to feel sorry for them instead, to genuinely hope they get this turned around. Okay? So knowing that God is the judge of all, Jesus said if we have anything against anyone, we should forgive. And then never stop forgiving. Bitterness will poison and drain the vitality out of any relationship, okay? So that's the next thing that I want you to get. Bitterness will poison and drain the life out of any relationship. So when it's all said and done, the romance, intimacy, and enjoyment of your marriage is greatly dependent upon your mutual commitment to allow no unforgiveness to exist between the two of you. Great marriages, this is the last thing that I want you to get. Great marriages are not produced by people who never hurt each other. That's impossible. We're human, right? Only by people who daily choose to keep no record of wrongs. Okay? So our dare today, guys, is whatever you haven't forgiven in your mate, forgive it today. Let it go. Just as we ask Jesus to forgive us our debts, each day we must ask him to help us forgive our debtors each day as well. Unforgiveness has been keeping you and your spouse in prison for too long. Say from your heart, I choose to forgive. This is so very important, guys, because if we don't choose to forgive our spouses, then this is going to cause just so much trouble in our lives. And if you have unforgiveness for other people too, I really just encourage you to listen to this video over again and ask yourself these questions and remind yourself of, it doesn't matter what this person did to me. What matters is what it's doing to me, and it's literally imprisoning me. And I'm going to hand this person over to God, and I'm just going to say, hey, I don't understand why you did what you did to me, but I'm choosing to forgive you, and write it on paper, this is something that is really tough for me to get over because this person did it. Write it on paper and then burn it like we did in the beginning when we made those lists of rights and wrongs, and say, hey, I'm choosing to forgive this person. I'm choosing to forgive these people. And I want to let it go. I want to clear my heart of anger and bitterness and resentment and all of this bad stuff that lives inside of me, and you will feel the weight of that being lifted. So I hope that you guys had a wonderful time today. This is such a hard dare, perhaps the hardest one of all. I can't wait to see you tomorrow for day 26 of the Love Dare for Your Marriage. I love you guys. God bless. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like it, and share me with your friends. Take care.